10 toes, that's my MO. Fam over gram, that's my MO. With close friends, I got friends that I keep close and they let it go while I reload. Like, bow, bow, bow. TSA just opened my book bag up and my chain hitting like, bow, 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 bow. The King's back in his hometown when them wheels hit and I touch down, they bow, bow, bow. She down low.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the DCR, the Derby Crown Report podcast, episode 2 today, Zay. Episode 2, and we have a lot.
Episode 2, what's happening?
What's up? I'm Cam. This is my co-host, Zay.
How you guys doing?
We are the Derby Crown Report. We have so much to cover today, Zay.
So much to cover. Such an elated day.
So much to cover, and it's been about a month since we gave you all episode 1. Had a lot of great feedback, a lot of great support, and a lot of great community rallying around that episode.
Absolutely.
And we can't wait to see what happens with this one.
Yeah, let me give a quick shout out to everyone that supported the podcast. Truthfully, the support, just the Kings, the love for the Kings, man, and the love for the support from the fans. Truthfully, we are truly appreciative. You guys it's already opened up doors in a lot of weird ways. We got a lot to talk about, don't we, Cam?
Absolutely, we do. We have a ton to talk about, and it has opened up tons of doors already, and I can't wait to see the doors it will continue to open up and the doors that will allow us to open up.
Absolutely.
Lord willing. And so a lot to talk about what the day we just had. We just had a crazy day before the shooting of this podcast, but we'll get to that later because we have so much that has happened prior to this day that we live in that has happened that we need to cover, and starting with the Louisville Kings that have been invited to NFL training camp. And we have 4 so far. We've heard from a few people around us in our circle, around the team, that there might be some more coming, and we'll wait to see that. But let's talk about the 4 that we have already getting invites to training camps. And can we start with the man who I feel as if has the best chance to be a staple in the league, a man who is going to be an NFL starter, in my opinion, in due time, and that's Tanner Brown. How do you feel about Tanner Brown going to the New Orleans Saints, Zay? And what does this do for the Kings? What does this do for Tanner? What will this do for the Saints possibly in this upcoming season?
The Saints have not had a great kicker since Will Lutz was traded to the Broncos, so Tanner Brown is going to be a perfect fit for them. I believe Tanner Brown will make an NFL roster. He will be the UFL player that succeeds the most going into the season, to be truly honest. He's a completely accurate kicker. As I gave you the stat today, was the first professional kicker in any professional league, football-wise, to make 2 60-yard field goals in one game, and they did that in our championship game just this past year. So Tanner Brown, you will. I'm hoping. I'm praying for you, brother. I hope you succeed with another Louisville's own Tyler Shuck down there in New Orleans, man. I hope you make the roster this year. I believe you have the best chance out of any Louisville King this upcoming season.
Hey, man, shout out Tyler Shuck. I'm a big Tyler Shuck believer, as my friend here to my right knows. But, Tanner Brown going to the New Orleans Saints, like you said, great fit. I think they said he's going to be battling it out with somebody for that starting job. I forgot who it is, but my money's on Tanner. And let me tell you that, because if my money were to be on Tanner throughout this season, this past championship season we had
we'd be
with
rich.
The Kings, we might be swimming in money right now, because Tanner Brown had an unbelievable season. He's not the kind of guy you want to doubt in regards to his kicking ability. And I think, and we'll probably bring this guy up a lot today, our good friend, a colleague of ours, Zach Lee.
Absolutely. Shout out Zach Lee.
A Kings media legend.
Absolutely.
If you ask me, just a legend.
Absolutely.
But he brought up something that was interesting to me. He said, imagine next year you look in the crowd and you see a bunch of Saints Tanner Brown jerseys. And I think that is, even though he's a kicker, I think that's the main thing he could do in regards to what this will mean for the Kings.
Absolutely.
Is you'll look around and you'll see, because I do think he has a great chance to be a starter and a great player. Dare I say, in the top half of the league in kickers. I think Tanner Brown can be a player that you see, like Zach pointed out to us, a lot of Kings fans buying his jersey in support of him, and showing that we're going to support our players beyond what they do here with the Kings, and that they will be Louisville Kings lifers wherever they go beyond here.
I'm going to make a bet right now. If he finishes within the top half of the league this year and finishes the rest of the year out with the Saints, I will be buying a Tanner Brown jersey, and I will be wearing it on this pod and to a Kings game next year. I will be one of those fans rocking that Tanner Brown jersey. 1,000%.
I like that. I love that. And
1,000%.
what would constitute, just to get this clear for the audience, what would constitute him being in the top half of the league? Do you mean top half in field goals made?
I'd say just made, made or percentage, like around percent. I think for me, percentage wise.
Okay.
Volume
Fair.
is good, but if your team's not scoring a lot of points and you're just kicking a lot of field goals, but you're not kicking them accurately, I don't really care too much. As long as he's accurate and he's in the top.
So really,
60.
just as long as he's in that conversation of the top half of the league.
Absolutely. And if he
Awesome.
finishes out the year as a Saints kicker,
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
we rocking that Tanner Brown jersey next year. I don't care what number he's wearing. I'm gonna be
Okay.
wearing that jersey.
Okay, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. If Tanner Brown finishes in the top half of the NFL this year, this upcoming season in NFL kickers, our host Zay here will be wearing a Tanner Brown jersey to a Kings game and onto the pod. Tanner Brown Saints jersey at that, and so we will. I hope that happens.
Nah,
Man,
absolutely.
I hope to see you with
absolutely.
a Saints jersey here in about a year's time. I'd love to see that.
You know what? I was looking at my football collection. I was like, I don't have a lot of football gear, and you know
Right,
what?
right,
No,
okay.
you know what?
Great opportunity.
That I'm gonna give me my little Kings jersey by the end of the year. But a Tanner Brown jersey, it can be slept. It'd be slept on. A lot of people wouldn't know the lore behind that, and I'd have it as a 50-year-old man rocking the Tanner Brown jersey,
the lore.
and they'd be like, who's that?" I'd be like, "Hey, boy, y'all know back in my day, this kicker."
This is a Saints kicker. They're gonna be like, why?
Yeah, because the first season of the UFL, he changed my life. That's why. And I got this Tanner Brown.
Hey, Tanner
jersey.
Brown was so important this year, dude.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, I can't tell you the amount of games he. I mean, and like you said, the 260s and one guy. I mean, Tanner Brown was a menace this year.
Absolutely.
A menace. I mean, as long as you constitute a kicker to be a player on the field,
Absolutely.
I don't think you can argue that he was any worse than the second best player on the team. I think Cam Gill would be my number one personally because he led the UFL in sacks. Great defensive player of the year in the league.
Absolutely.
But Tanner Brown has a case for number one. I don't think outside of those two that anyone else has a case. That's my personal opinion. But the MVP of the championship game, who had a great game and a great season for us, Ian Wheeler,
Yes,
gets an
sir.
opportunity with the Buffalo Bills. And that's who we'll talk about next. What is your opinion on Ian going to the Buffalo Bills? Do you think he has a chance there? A Howard graduate, a smart guy, a great running back who, once he finds that hole, he's gone. Gave James Robinson a run for his money in regards to the lead back in this backfield this year. What is your opinion about Ian Wheeler getting an opportunity with Josh Allen's Buffalo Bills?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking me. I think it's all about his confidence. When he runs with confidence, he's a very good back. He finds the hole very well. He has a nice burst of speed. I think Buffalo's running back room's a little tough. It's going to be tough to just even touch the ball.
And name some of those names in there, isn't it?
James Cook,
we have
was
James Cook,
was
right.
the leading rusher. Ray Davis, a Kentucky native from at least the college sense. I believe Johnson. Some guy named Johnson's on their team. They just have a nice pass catching backfield. They have a nice little mix. James Cook's more of their every down back. So it's just going to be tough. If Ian can come in and be more of like their straight line running back in terms of when James is not in, I think he could maybe find a role. As we heard from our source today, he's not as good with his hands. So it's going to be maybe even tougher. But if he works on that, I think he'll have a great chance. He's very athletic. And I think he's athletically, from what I think, at least the third best back on that Bills team. At least.
Interesting. I do think that out of the four players that have been invited to a training camp, I do think Ian has the least likely chance of making the roster. And it has nothing to do with his ability or how talented he is. It has everything to do with the situation.
Absolutely.
I think the other three players we talk about are in a better situation in regards to what they bring to the table and their strengths and how that can add to whatever team they're on and how they wouldn't just be a, how do you say, kind of beating a dead horse. Like there's some situations where you put a player on that team and they have 6 of those already, 5 of those
Absolutely.
already. And so, but I hope that Ian kills it. I hope that he ends up being at least the back. I mean, a backup. If he can become the backup in Buffalo,
That would be great for the Kings.
If he's even like sharing snaps with Ray Davis in that backfield as the second stringer, that is an unbelievable success. And I will be rooting for him tremendously. One of my favorite players from this year's team. I do wish so badly that he went to a team that, and I'm not familiar enough with the landscape of running backs in the NFL right now to know which teams are in dire need of one. But I would have loved to see him to go to a place where we could say confidently he will definitely make the roster and can even compete for a starting job. That would be great. Obviously, that's your wish for any Kings player going to the NFL, but definitely the least likely out of the four, in my opinion. But we are rooting for you, Ian Wheeler.
Yes, and on that
Kings
note,
legend, in my opinion, our first MVP of a championship game, and I don't think he'll be our last.
No, of course not. I think we'll get to that. We'll get to that later when we talk about our back-to-back campaign. But let's talk about the other two. The two Lions receivers, Tariq Black and Lucky Jackson. How do you feel about those two receivers, Cam?
I love it, and if anyone watched the last pod, I did say I said this. I said if we can keep one of Winstead, Jackson, or Tariq Black on this roster in the upcoming Kings year, the second Kings year, a massive success. And to see Lucky and Tariq get an opportunity with the same team, though, I love it. They can feed off each other. They can help each other. Though they already have a familiar face in that locker room entering training camp. And so I love it personally. I think the Lions, I think you might have mentioned something about the Lions having lack of depth in the receiver room. And that might be why they went to a UFL team. And they didn't just get two UFL receivers. They got two Kings receivers.
Absolutely.
Two players from the same UFL team. And so they obviously are in need of it. And Lucky and Tariq are both two guys that I will never question or doubt their talent. The talent is all the way there. It's all just about, like I said, situation and opportunity.
Yeah.
And the chances that are presented in front of them. I think Lucky is the kind of guy that my belief is that from what I've seen personally, and I obviously I don't know anything, but I think Lucky's best chance in the NFL is as a special teams guy. I think if he can really hone in that return ability that he has, he could find his way onto a roster as a special teams returner. I feel that way about Tyler Hudson too. Personally, I feel like those are guys that their return ability is really where you found value and how great they are. Now, Tariq Black is a guy that you've been on the Tariq train for I don't know how long now.
Absolutely. My Kings, I actually sit next to my podcast partner, and I'm a little jealous because that James Robinson jersey looking a little dope. But you know what?
James Robinson, number 30.
By the end of this year, I will be rocking a gray 17 Tariq Black jersey because he was my favorite player to watch. Him and Isaiah Winstead, truthfully, this entire season. I'm a receivers guy. I was talking to Coach Redmond today. We'll get into that a little later, but I told him right to his face, I said, the first time I walked onto the field and I watched any of these guys play, he was the first guy to catch my eye. And the only thing I think could hold him back is age, which I'm not even going to lie, it's something that kind of slipped my mind that these guys are just a little older than you would think. But, it's the NFL. You can never start you're a grown man. You can never start too late, and talent succeeds in any place. So, talent works hard, if you do your due diligence, and I think he has a chance to be third or fourth receiver on that roster easily. The Lions lack depth, and they get hurt. They are a physical team, so I think he has I think, as you said, I think Lucky, even if it's not with the Lions, because they actually have pretty good return specialists sometimes most years, but if he could find, I think he could find a spot as a return specialist somewhere. 100%. Don't know if it's with the Lions, but I think Tariq, to me, has the second best chance of making a roster out of the four that got signed. He's very talented, very talented.
1,000%, and congratulations to all four guys for getting their invites.
Absolutely.
And the hope, I really hope, and I'm really supporting all four of them and all of them getting an opportunity and all of them flourishing. I mean, you could say anything's possible. We started the season 0-3, won a championship in our inaugural season.
Absolutely.
So I'm not going to put it past them that all four of these guys go to the NFL and end up playing a role on the team that they play for. So congratulations to Tanner Brown, Lucky Jackson, Tariq Black, and Ian Wheeler on their opportunities with the Saints, the Lions, and the Bills, respectively. Super happy for and proud of all of them. Hope to see maybe a couple of them back next season if the opportunity presents itself, and if they obviously don't go so crazy in the NFL that they aren't worried about the UFL come next spring.
But I would actually, if that happens, I'm even more happy for them. Truthfully, go make your earnings, go make your living.
Me too.
Me too.
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
That's what they're there for.
I think you want to get into that. The goal of what we really want. The UFL to kind of I think that's me and Cam. We're just to let you guys know, we're on a really good sugar high. Today was a very good day, just as a Kings fan, as a person in general. But
it was like Kings heaven today.
Yes,
Kings super fan heaven. It's like if a Kings fan could close their eyes and imagine what King's Heaven would look like. This would be it.
Absolutely. We got to do things that a lot of people don't ever get to experience in any form of life. So today I was truly grateful. But in terms of what we were saying about just the Kings and what with the UFL in general is just how this league being a spring league, which is going to make it a very tough league to succeed in, but it's got promise, man. This is something we want to stay and live and die in for the rest of our lives. I want the UFL to be around until I'm an old man. I want to be a Kings fan until I die, and that's what like the UFL being a pipeline for players to maybe get a chance at the NFL, giving teams another chance to scout players that they don't always get the chance to look at in college when you're not in the right situation, and just giving players who maybe are no longer going to get who don't get the chance to, throughout the year, third, fourth string practice guys, give them a chance to come out, just have the love of the game of football. Football's fun, man. And when people are playing it and they really love it, these guys, most of the guys, they get paid, but they're there because they get the chance to live out their dream in some way, play professional football, play.
It's interesting you say that. The other day at work, I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and I genuinely, this is just me personally, and I know everybody has something like this that they feel this way about.
Right.
But I said, I can't imagine walking this earth as a man and not loving football. Personally, no offense. No offense. You know what I mean? Everybody's into their own thing. Someone thinks that way about me and Pokemon.
Yeah, of course.
Someone out there thinks, how could I walk earth and not like Pokemon? But that's my thing that I don't understand how you can walk earth and not like it is football. The sport of football it's a microcosm of life in so many ways. And I think that the UFL specifically is twofold. What the league is there for and what it does is twofold. And what we even want to contribute to is twofold. One is helping these players achieve their dreams of getting to the next level, which is the NFL.
Right.
A lot of these guys are making the same salaries that a lot of us make in our everyday lives with the UFL. And we want to see them flourish and step up onto a big stage and show off their talents. I love, and we'll talk about this in a moment, I think Brendan Sorsby, the idea of a guy like Brendan Sorsby who's been casted out by the college football landscape, who's been casted out by the NFL.
CFL.
Yeah, been casted out by the CFL.
Who do they think they are?
Right.
Like, no, really. Like,
the idea of giving him an opportunity, though, to me is that's what this league is for. It's for players who need more opportunities, for players that to show themselves, and that's one part of it. But like I said, it's twofold because also it's to give families and children and people in these smaller communities, and by smaller I don't mean too small. Louisville's not a small place. Columbus is not a small place, but relative to a Los Angeles, to a big NFL market, it is relatively small. And it's to give those families memories that last a lifetime. And at the end of the day, if you can build community through the sport, which is what we do with football and all these other avenues, that's what you're here to do it for. And so the UFL is just a new way to do it, at least in our city. And we hope that it expands to all these other cities. Columbus is a place who has Ohio State football.
Right.
You give them a professional team to root for, and they feel, it gives them something to feel great about. We have a pro sports team, even just that label,
Yeah,
we have a pro sports
absolutely.
team. You know what I mean?
I didn't until tonight. I didn't realize how important it was until it was emphasized.
Right.
Professional sports team.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of cities in the world don't get to ever say that. A lot of cities in the U.S. definitely don't get to say that. And we have a professional sports team. Louisville has a professional sports team, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
Be proud
Football
of
team
it.
at that.
Professional football team. Be proud
100%.
of it.
And let's dive into, now that we're talking about the UFL and obviously what we hope for it to do, let's kind of transition into news around the league.
Absolutely.
In general, news that extends beyond the Kings. So Brendan Sorsby, like I just brought up, this is a guy who
is very talented.
Very talented. I've seen things say that he was in the top 5 for quarterbacks in the draft this upcoming season.
I had to go back and check him out just a bit, just to kind of see where he was ranked. He was at the beginning of the year when people thought people were silly and thought Arch were gonna go,
right.
But he was within the top 4 to 5 people around that were getting floated around that could potentially become possible first round pick. The quarterback second round. This quarterback class wasn't the best, but he was somebody with a lot of talent. I believe when I just looked at his, it was 27-7 this past season, and that's what everything that was going on with his entire situation, which it sucks. Gambling is, I gamble, but I don't. Participating in gambling is I don't know. When you are
not
professional,
endearing.
when you're an athlete and you're of that stage, it's not the smartest thing to do. You need to stay away from it as much as possible.
And hopefully he uses it as a learning lesson moving forward.
Oh, he's got no choice.
But he's young. The kid's young.
Yeah.
He made a mistake, and I think like I said, the UFL being a league of second chances is a great thing. And let me tell you where my mind went personally when Rapoli made the post. Now Rapoli made a post when they announced that Sorsby couldn't play in the NFL or in the CFL, and he said, "Come over to the UFL, the League of Second Chances," and he put a picture of Sorsby in a Dallas Renegades shirt.
I saw that. That was the one that was floating around, and I was
and where my mind goes though, and now obviously I'm a Kings fan. I'm not a Renegades fan.
Yeah,
I'm not a Houston Gamblers fan. And these are teams that let the league down in this past season. Make no mistake about it. Austin obviously went to Dallas for this season. They were Austin before this season. And before this season too, though, the UFL had a team called the San Antonio Brahmas. I don't know how well they were doing, but so all these Texas teams. Where my mind went though was Rapoli has this initiative where he wants players that are from these colleges, local to UFL teams, to go to their respective UFL.
And he was a Texas Tech.
And he was a Texas Tech. Texas Tech starter. Now, I will say this. Entering this next season, this 2027 UFL season that'll be coming up next spring, when you look around, I'm pretty sure, 99.9% sure, and nothing indicates otherwise, that we will be entering the season with the same 8 teams.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to enter the season, at least for this last season, with the same 8 teams before expanding with 2 more, and you're not going to relocate, if they're not going to relocate, which I'm 50-50 on that conversation in regards to entering this next season, because I think you do want to build where teams are, but at the same time, like a Houston Gambler, Houston did nothing this year.
And
Zach was talking about they were terrible.
And like as he said, even the Houston professional team struggle. So it's like that's out the Astros. I'm pretty sure.
But if you want something to give a spark to this UFL team, to any of these UFL teams in Texas that really are in need of it right now, Brennan Sorsby is the way to go. Mm-hmm. If you want to put an extra few hundred fans in seats, I do think Brennan Sorsby would be. And also in a league where the UFL, just to be real, this year was not the best year for UFL quarterbacks. You got the best one in the league, obviously, was Jack Plummer, the MVP, and he had a good season. Outside of him, you don't see much around the league of like great quarterback play where it's like, oh, this guy. Like there's not like a Luis Perez. Luis Perez was a starter this year for the St. Louis Battlehawks, but he wasn't the king of spring that he used to be, where you watch him and you're like, how is this guy not in the NFL?
Right.
And so in a league that is in need of especially big name quarterbacks, we're kind of we're kind of low on those. The biggest name I think we have, in my opinion, would be DTR right now. And DTR just wasn't anything.
But there's a couple, like, man, we need to get this reach out there for guys like, I mean, like, it's a little gimmicky, but like, what about a guy like, what if a guy like Johnny Manziel?
I knew you were going to say Johnny Manziel.
What if he said he was going to make a comeback? And it's like, bro, like,
people would love it,
but
I do think at the same time,
with a guy like Brandon, it's like
you do have to respect the integrity of the sport.
Yeah, no, I know, and
Brennan Sorsby is talented enough though to start for a UFL team.
But the problem is he's also talented enough, because I saw something that said he couldn't go to this draft or the supplementary draft. They actually canceled the supplementary draft just because for like purposes of him not being in it. And he can be in next year's draft, which he said he's gonna be preparing for. And I'm just thinking, was his pride to, people that got pride? He's like, I don't want to play in the UFL.
My thing is, I think if he was going to do it, he might have already said it by now. I know that we have a long ways for the season to start, but when Rapoli said that, I think there would have been a response.
Yeah.
Where Sorsby probably isn't going to play in the UFL, but I do think, like I said, I just love the UFL being that league that's like, hey, come on down. UFL being a league that you see a coach like Ted Ginn Jr. on the Columbus Aviators get arrested mid-season and come back the next week, 2 weeks later, and I'm not saying that this is the best thing in the world. I'm not saying that you should get arrested. I'm not saying that you should gamble. I'm not saying any of that, but I'm saying the concept of it being a league for these guys to fall back on, I think that it opens doors in the future.
Absolutely.
Because the NFL, you see all the time guys mess up. You see Ray Rice situations happen all the time. Imagine if when Ray Rice happened, there was a spring league that was established, a spring league that was established as the B tier league for him to go to and to get his feedback. Because the truth is, too, at the end of the day, a lot of times talent will transcend everything else.
Absolutely.
If he goes to the UFL and he kills and he's the MVP of the league, he's probably getting an opportunity.
Or at least, like, if he has to do a couple years just because, and like they have to see him change his attitude.
Yes, if he has to show that he's a changed man.
Yeah, no, of course.
Imagine if a Josh Gordon had a UFL and
my god, oh goodness, golly, would
you know what I mean? And so I love the UFL being that second chance league. I love it being a league that shows that it can be that. Brendan Sorsby, though, like I said, I personally don't think he will play.
But
if he did, it'd be great. I'd love it.
I think we're just gonna I think this upcoming year, I think the chance would be like less than 10%. But the year after, because you have to see if he doesn't get drafted, if the NFL's gonna turn his back on him and he wants to continue to play football, he might have nothing else. Because that's what I would be looking at this league at for now. If I was at any type of lower stage NFL level, if I'm not gonna be on a roster, if I'm not going to be on a practice squad making real money,
even if you are going to be on a roster and you're just not playing, too.
Yeah,
I think some guys really love ball.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna come to the spring league like it's like the Drew League for NBA for some NBA players.
Yeah,
let me just go down there and hoop because the Rucker.
Yeah, who wants to give their kids something to watch? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like there's some of these guys got kids and it's like if I'm just sitting on the bench all the time, I'm making this money.
No, you're right.
I want my kids to watch me play football.
Like it's like hey, like I'm actually cold. I'm just not like I'm not NFL, but these are the best. People don't get I think that's one thing I come to appreciate about just this the professional sports is hard. Even what these guys are doing, you would think the UFL that's easy. Me coming out of high school, I was joking.
Not.
I was like, yeah, let me go join the team. Like I could not do that right now.
Absolutely
I'm not in the shape.
Not.
You have to really keep that mindset.
The UFL, and I love that. I saw Mike Rapoli say this, but the UFL is still the top 1% too.
Yes,
the NFL is the top 1%.
Is.
The UFL is too. It's just the leftovers in that top 1%. But they are incredible players. And let's talk about other news in this incredible league that is, like we're saying, also a top 1% league. There has been some rumors going around the last week or so in the UFL community about these job openings in White Plains, New York. I can say confidently right now that the conversations of a New York team being the 10th team, the second team that's going to be part of the expansion in 2028, is not going to happen.
Null and void.
That is, and I don't have any information on exactly who it's going to be, on who that 10th team is going to be, but I truly believe that I confidently believe it will not be New York. There is a business office for the UFL in New York, and I know some people have already covered and said that. Some people still think that there's something going on there, and that in Queens, that there's a stadium in Queens that'll be used for a New York team. Zay, what are your thoughts on, now we know Mike Rapoli, he loves New York. He is a New York guy, and obviously the business office in White Plains, New York, and that being, I think, around the place where he does most of his home base business work, proves that. What is your opinion on in the future, though? In the future and within the confines of the league in general? I know last podcast we talked about we would prefer non-NFL cities.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, the New York market, the New York television market, and what it would do for the numbers, it is important, and there is an argument to be made that most cities would need either an LA or New York or both
to
thrive over time, numbers wise. What are your opinions on a New York team in the future? In 2020, there was a New York Guardians in, I believe it was the USFL at the time, maybe the XFL, I don't remember, but they only played 1 year and then never existed beyond that. But what are your thoughts of the New York Guardians coming back, or a New York team entering the league in the future?
When we were talking about it at the beginning, I think we were both very New York. But as you said, the most important thing is if it's going to do things for the TV numbers, which at the end of the day will help the UFL, then I just think just don't do it too soon. Let we're going to be 10 teams in 2028. Maybe when we get to, let's see what the league looks like when we're at 10. Let's see what the Houston Gamblers look like. If you want to uproot Houston and you want to go to New York, or you want to try a place in New York, I'm okay with that. If it's one of the lower teams and you want to give a smaller New York City borough a chance at a UFL team, I'm okay with that. I think as long as it's helping the league, I just don't want them to, as we said, if we're not gonna go out west, because it doesn't sound like we're gonna go to California or anything, then we have to use our markets the best way we can. And New York is the biggest market in the world. Simple as that. So
1000%.
just not too soon. But if we're gonna, I would absolutely 1000% be okay with taking one of the teams that get no traction in
Send them
Dallas
on to
or
New York.
Houston. Yep, and to give New York a chance. Why
I
not?
actually really liked the New York Guardians as a team in terms of branding and stuff. Whenever I saw the jersey and stuff, I said that actually looked all right when they did it. I do think I completely agree with you with just about everything you said. I will second it. I wouldn't mind personally, and like I said, I can confidently say it's not happening, but the idea of that 2028 expansion being one team like OKC who is following that Louisville blueprint,
Oh yes.
and then one team like New York that kind of brings a television market that is much needed for the league's TV ratings and whatnot. I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind splitting it those two ways. To kind of show both sides of it. Now, what I will say is this though, it is not a home run in any sense, and I think that there are plenty better options in regards to being this early in what Rapoli's trying to do. Rapoli is saying by 2034 he wants 16 teams. And it doesn't sound like that's where he wants to end.
Right.
It doesn't sound like that's going to be the end of things. So if you want this to be the long-term established, kind of like what is it, AAA is to the MLB, where it's like this is the minor league feeder system.
Yeah,
pretty
and
much. If you want this to be the established league, I don't think you start with a New York this early. I think you establish the league beyond that first, so that whenever you bring a team to New York, while you know you have a layup in regards to TV. And viewership ratings there, you also will have a fan base that's like, we've been watching the UFL build something that we want to be to support, because it has to be worth a New Yorker's time.
Absolutely.
I don't think a New Yorker is going to pull up if it's not worth their time. Now, some people in New York, do not get me wrong, New York has some of the most diehard sports fans ever that will show up no matter what. The Knicks weren't worth their time for 30 years. They still showed up.
That is very true. Now that you know what, I was gonna because I was just thinking about. I was like, will New York show up for a UFL team? Because I'm like, if they 0-3, they just be like, nah, we're not going. But as soon as you said the Knicks, and then I thought about the Mets, and then I thought about how they
I do think this like the subtle difference there, and the subtle thing that makes that a bit different is the fact that if the Knicks popped up in the last 10 years, it might be different.
Oh yeah,
as opposed to these fans already love the Knicks from what they did in the past.
Right. Now you're right.
And so. But still, New York will show up no matter what. I don't know if they'll fill a 25,000 capacity stadium like what is in Queens that they're talking about. But what I can say is this: I do think that it's like almost a shoe-in that there will be a New York team eventually, because Mike Rapoli is the guy doing stuff, and he's in New York. You could tell by the way he talks, he is New York.
Yeah, he'll get his buddies. People are connected. As I learned today. Connections go a long way, and if he's got the connections, and what I really
and he has that. I mean, that helps a lot though, because if you look at like all these different businesses Rapoli has, he has connects deep. He has deep grassroots connects in New York for helping with sponsoring and all that kind of stuff. That would help him tremendously if he were to start a New York team. I think that it's a shoe-in. Like I said, I just think 2028 is a little too early.
Absolutely.
If you're pushing this blueprint, which is the Rapolian blueprint, if you will, of these 10 to 15,000 capacity soccer stadiums, which is what made Oklahoma City so great. In my opinion, the 10th team in 2028, the obvious choice would be bringing the Michigan Panthers back, as they will have Alumni 5 Field done by then.
What do you think about this? What do you think about 2028? We expand, obviously, Oklahoma. We maybe do Michigan. But then we move Houston to New York.
Yep, I was thinking that too.
It's like three new teams. Like I
do think because I do think that while 2028 will be expansion, I don't think that it's undoubtedly going to still be the 8.
Right.
I do think that Houston is on their way out.
Oh yeah, they're on that.
No matter which way we turn it, I think Houston's on their way out. I think, I do think though that Oklahoma City's going to kill it.
I think they're going to be top. They're going to be a top 3.
I think they are going to smash.
I actually people don't realize OKC, the OKC fans, just because it's like a smaller NBA market, they're diehard for those OKC fans. Yeah. OKC Twitter's terrible right now. They think Shea is better than Curry a lot of nights, bro. It's crazy. Some OKC fans, so Oklahoma fans in general, the Sooners fans, they show up for those Sooners. They will show up for that UFL team. They are going
especially
to
in
show
a brand new stadium. It's going to open that year, 2028. I mean, this is
Louisville
like,
pop out. I might have to pop out to that game. 2028.
Yeah.
We might if they
on the
tell
brand
they
new
go play out
stadium,
there. Oh yeah, we
the
might.
Maps 4 multi-purpose stadium. Shout out all Oklahoma City, whatever they're going to be, future fans. I hope that they have just as much passion as we do about our Kings, because that's really that's another thing. I know we talked earlier off camera. We talked about trying to get these places outside of Louisville to support the Kings. But another thing, if we really want to contribute to the league and we really want this to be a staple of a league and a league that is the flagship B-tier football league in America, which, by the way, let me say this. With what football is right now, like for example, we just started this team this year. More fans were at these King games than the fans that go to the Lou City games in that same stadium.
Oh yes. Oh, absolutely.
Football as a sport in America is such a high commodity. Even a lower level league than the NFL will still transcend a lot of the best leagues in other sports in America. So make no mistake about it, the UFL will matter. But what matters for us beyond just like we said, making it Kentucky's team and not just Louisville's, is making sure that we do whatever we can to find other fans in these other communities and communicate with them, network with them,
Absolutely.
talk to them, exchange fanery, if you will. Like, I haven't seen any. I know that they exist out there, but like, where are the Columbus Aviator fans that are really diehard, really going for the Aviators? Columbus had a great year, by the way, for an inaugural year. I think if Louisville didn't show up the way we did, they would be looked at as like the new
blueprint.
Yeah, the new blueprint. And they didn't even have a great year on field, but they showed up. And by the way, their stadium, it was a good visit. It was a fun visit out there whenever we went to go out there. But yeah, we have to make sure that we're networking, we're online, we're active in our fandom.
Absolutely.
As fans of whatever UFL team it is. I see shout out the Defending Show. There's a DC Defenders show that's been going on for a few years. And they're diehards about the Defenders. They show that you can be a diehard fan for a UFL team, and that's what a worldwide a big league starts as. It's a bunch of fans that are willing to say yes to their community, to their team in their city, and then that just adds up. This city, that city, that city, that city. And speaking of community, what a night we had tonight!
Oh, Cam!
Shout out the KCD football program, in which we attended a dinner tonight for the program.
The defending state champion KCD football program. Let's give them their proper due, Cam. Just on my bad. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're right.
But just had to throw that in there, brother.
The defending state champion KCD Bearcats, Kentucky Country Day, a great program. Nothing but glowing things to say about them. It was unbelievable, and we actually had the opportunity to watch Coach Redmond speak at this dinner. We got a chance to watch his father speak at this dinner. His father's an absolute legend. As you can see, I had a poster. I got it signed by him, framed it as soon as I got in the car. But we had conversations with Chris, and can't speak too much on it. We'll keep everything private. We'll keep everything under wraps. But we have some special things for you all coming in the future. I hope you continue to tune in. Subscribe right now, by the way.
Absolutely.
If you're watching this right now, stop what you're doing, subscribe, and like this video for us. But how did you feel about tonight's dinner, Zay? And what did you come away with in regards to the coach that we support and the team that we're supporting moving forward? Not only that, but anything you could say, any great remarks you could say about the KCD football program?
Absolutely. First off, big shout out to you as a friend and a collaborator. Tonight, I didn't think starting this a year ago that this is where I would be doing stuff. And, I'm not even saying it like I'm the biggest guy in the world. I'm just saying I take my wins in life very proudly. And I think you always you should celebrate feeling good. You should celebrate something like when moments in your life. And tonight was a great moment for me. And I want. Okay, Siri, but I'm not my bad.
Siri
But
don't get you,
not
bro.
but not to but to be a brother. I want to thank you, brother, for helping me with just giving me the chance to be there tonight. Tonight was very special to me as a Kings fan, as a football fan, just to get to hear four. We got to hear four coaches speak tonight, and two of them were from the KCDC program. And the other two were Coach Redmond's father and son, and they were just remarkable men. I can see 100%. Why they've cultivated championship football teams. They're great coaches. I would as a
There's
football
a lot
player.
of championships.
A lot of championships. They bragged about being over double digits, and shout out to them. That coaching tree is truly amazing. They have a lot of wisdom to speak tonight. They were very humble men. They were very
1000%.
respectful men.
And coaching tree, and I don't mean to cut you off.
No,
Coaching
you're
tree,
fine.
yes, unbelievable. But even more than that, as you're saying, the tree of men going there in that family, from Coach Redmond's father to Coach Redmond, even down to Coach Redmond's son, who we heard about, and just a bunch of great faithful men, men of the Lord, but men of football as well, men of family, men of love, just straight up, like, no questions asked when we come in. Coach Redmond's willing to sign, willing to talk to us about the team, about the year one. And there's one thing that Coach Redmond continued to say to me throughout the night, as I noticed, and we went up and talked to him a few different times, maybe in a cumulative hour or so of conversation with him. But the main thing he continued to say to me was, we got to run it back next year. We got to run it back next year. We got to run it back next year. And man, I was ready to run through a wall right there.
I mean, dude,
he's right. We have to do this again.
He just, you could see it, like the smile, like this man loves football, and that just hearing him talk about his story. To me and Cam's surprise, he was one of the Brady Six.
Yeah, the Brady Six.
One of the first 6 quarterbacks taken before Tom Brady. I never knew that until tonight, and that was something. Like the man was a champion, man. He was a champion of men. He was
1000%.
just a great guy. Really, man, taught us some game, man. And like he said, just kept like him holding that trophy. Tonight we got to hold the championship trophy.
And I'll put a picture right here for you all to see us hold the trophy together.
Like you could see him holding it with the biggest smile on his face. As Cam said, we got to run it back next year. And he's confident. You can tell this man is confident that we will have a chance to run it back next year.
1000%. And as the kids would say, look, this is no glaze, all right?
Mm-hmm.
This is I'm not adding dressing to the whatever you want to the salad. This is 1000% the truth. Coach Redmond truly is the kind of man that I would say we need men like him to be role models for our sons.
Absolutely.
That was like the kind of man I'm like, this is like exactly what, like, it makes you, like I talked to you about earlier, it makes you so much more confident in what you're supporting, as opposed to, like, I'm a huge Bengals fan in the NFL. I love the Bengals, but I'll never say never, but it's hard for me to think that I'll be able to get to get as intimate of stories as what Coach Redmond was telling us, and get full conversations in the way that I did with Coach Redmond tonight, that we did with Coach Redmond tonight with Zach Taylor. Like, it's just hard to think that would ever happen. The fact that he was so personable, he was so open to conversation.
Oh my goodness!
Throughout the whole night, and you can tell he cares about the Kings. He was excited. He was genuinely excited.
And he cares about people who cares about the Kings.
Yes,
like the fact that we like man, you could just see it on his face. The moment like we let him know we were fans, like he just like he was appreciative because he knows like that. Mm-hmm. That's what like it's what drove this season.
And you know it is. It 100% is, and it's hard to think that is not the exact same thing that his players felt throughout the year. When you go down 0-3, a lot of players give up on their coach and stop believing in him. That what he gave us in those moments tonight that we spoke to him and that we saw him throughout the night, that's what he gave to those players throughout the year. And that's what makes players continue to fight for a coach that has them in a 1-4 situation, in an 0-3 situation, is to not give up on him and know, like he told us as well, if you watch the games, if you pay attention to the games, they were close from the jump. They were
absolutely
close all year. Even when they were 0-3, all those games were close. They were right there. And to not give up on them or to stop believing in them, a lot of that is not just because a lot of players even, they just see record at the end of the day. That's why they'll be livid, and they'll have a locker room livid over an 0-3 start. They'll have a locker room livid. The wrong people will, which Coach also talked about a little bit. He talked about egos and me guys, and how he had to kind of cut the fat on the team of those me guys and kind of get guys in that were about the team as a whole. Those players will care about that stuff more too if the coach's personality and who he is as a man does not transcend that. And I could tell just off tonight, being in the same room as Coach Redmond, watching him speak to others, even the way he interacts with people, the way he treats humans, that is a guy that not only he knows himself. He talked about also being yourself and not having to be this idea of what coaches
jumping
are
out of your
to be.
box. Yes, he said, like, if you're If you're a guy who's not a big speaker as a coach, then don't be a big speaker. Do what did he say? Do what you do best.
Yeah.
And do it well. Obviously work on the things you're not great at, but the things you're not great at, don't try and jump out of your shell.
And you know what Coach Redmond is good at more than anything else, at least from what I can see tonight, is being a faithful human being. Having faith whenever stuff does not look to be in your favor. The story he told us about his son, with his son having cancer, and him saying in that hospital room, I don't know how, but this is going to turn into something good.
Absolutely.
Something good will come of this.
And it
that
did.
is the same Chris Redmond that you see down 1-4, down 0-3, in a locker room saying something good will come out of this. And it showed. He chose to be himself. He didn't change his who he was as a coach or who he was as a person. He stuck to his guns, and it's a life lesson that we could all take. In any realm, which he continues to harp on as well. We could this is like football. Like I said earlier, it's a microcosm of life. A lot of times you look around at UFL, NFL, college football, no matter what it is, high school football. It's a microcosm of what life is in itself. There's ups and there's downs. You have to work as a team. Different people play different roles and do different things. There's stuff that goes on behind the scenes that contributes to what the public sees. All of that is life. And Coach Redmond, what he is in life, showed on the football field, and I can't wait to do it again, Coach.
Absolutely, and just to harp just a little bit on that, I want to talk about the man above Coach Redmond, which is his father. I think we gave Coach Redmond, but you can see where it comes from. His father was also just. First of all, he's just he's incredibly alert. I think humorous. I just love the way he told his stories. I did not know until tonight how important of a coach he was. He coached Michael Bush. I think he would
coached 17 guys.
Yeah, I was say I got it in the notes. I got a plethora of stories he was telling. I'm not gonna go very much into it, but he said he coached 17 players into the NFL. Yes. He talked about how Michael Bush he coached him out of basketball, and how he coached him into football and out of basketball just by talking about how the most logistics parts of the sports he was playing and how he would be able to play it going forward. And that just
brother, when he said Michael Bush had enough votes to make all state in six different positions,
dude.
What are we, man? What
how talented,
and that's the kind of stuff only his coach could tell us. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
No one else knew that.
No, nobody knew that story. Shout out Michael Bush, Louisville legend, man. Shout out Michael Bush, Louisville legend. But no, also and even learning about just how he looked at the season. You can tell he's still very involved behind the scenes, and how he's still influencing his son in some way. Maybe not. You could tell he's ready. If he wanted to, he could go out there and coach today.
I completely agree.
And he could get players to run through a wall.
I don't think he would, because most coaches are drained and old by
the guy played basketball with Wes Unseld. When he said that, I almost gasped and fell on my chair. I'm like, brother, that's 1970s.
He played when there was a freshman team in college.
Dude, no, I was like, he said Wes Unseld. Bro, oh my goodness.
That's a long time ago, bro.
People, a lot of y'all don't even that's real basketball lore right there,
man.
Yeah, but no, I just want to give a great shout out to I think Zach called him Bob. I don't know. Bob Redden, but he was just another fantastic man. You can see where Chris gets it from. Like I said, he was a great person to talk to and see tonight. And I can't say enough. I'm on a sugar high, Cam.
Yeah,
it's too.
No, I get it.
I am so too elated with.
I can't even
process.
Yeah. I'm still processing it all.
Absolutely.
I don't think any obviously people understand, but okay, Kings aside, the opportunity to talk to Chris Redmond. He's the leading passer in Louisville Cardinals football history. He's a Super Bowl champion with the Ravens.
That's twofold for me.
I mean, yeah, he's an NFL. He talked about today how he helped mentor Matt Ryan. Chris Redmond is
second player in NCAA history to get a letter of intent rescinded because of the way his college did him, because they signed him just to and didn't let him know the coach was fine.
And it's beyond just okay. If we were to get to meet him, I'd be so excited. we got to sit there and conversate with this man.
That was you couldn't have me and Cam's expectations.
And I felt like I talked to him I feel like I knew him from somewhere. Like,
dude,
he made it so personable, so easy to talk to.
From the first 30 seconds we were speaking, once formalities were out the way, we were speaking to the man as if we had known him our entire lives, as if we were his players. And he looked at us like young men that he was looking to help, and I really appreciated that.
Yes.
Like I said, we can't talk too much about just everything was that happened tonight, but like it was we got to advance really far in our relationship just with him in general, and that was incredible for us.
And that was mad love. Shout out, by the way, Zach Lee, like we said earlier, Zach Lee in King's Court, what he's done for the team, what he's done for me as a fellow fan, for me and Zay both, what he's done for us. It was a great talking to him tonight as well.
Absolutely.
We're going to continue to build with him. We hope to contribute to whatever King's Court does in the second season. And I'm looking for also shout out to Louisville King's Corner, the other Kings podcast. The only other one that I know of, I'm sure there's more, but those guys, Justice and them over there, great dudes. And also playing their role in helping the Kings build this community around this team. It was again so awesome. Enough words cannot be said.
Like genuinely,
how great it was getting to talk to Coach Redmond, getting to hear stories from him and his father, and also just being a part of the dinner in general. I mean, being part of the.
Should we talk about this right here?
Yeah. So also there was a raffle that our good friend Zach Lee won, and thank you, Zach Lee, for handing us this. This will be going right up in the kingdom back at the crib.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, I mean, it's like just an amazing night. Like, I don't think I could have made it any better. And shout out Coach Matthew Jones of KCD. Great
Absolutely.
coach.
He made us,
man.
That man made us KCD fans. And until tonight, I never saw what any championship ring look like that. And it only gave you a scope of what NFL, like really professional rings look like.
Yeah.
But that man had a championship ring, a real one, ladies and gentlemen.
1,000%.
That ring was nice.
Wasn't no joke at all.
That wasn't no joke. And did you see? We didn't talk about it. I didn't even say nothing to you. Do you see Redmond's pops? His championship ring he was rocking on his finger.
Yeah.
It was blinging. Yeah, it was blinging
Hold
up
on
there. His was a little smaller. It looked like, but not. But shout out Coach
Yeah.
Jones and that fabulous championship. He's doing a great thing up at KCD. 25 years solid and just won his first championship.
Unbelievable.
Mad respect to that man.
Unbelievable. And I don't think it'll be their last. I think KCD has a great, bright future. Shout out KCD and the whole KCD Bearcat family. Thank you. And shout out Coach Redmond and his father. Thank you, Zach Lee and King's Court. Thank you to the whole Kings fandom. Like Coach Redmond said, we got to run it back. We got to run it back. We have no option. We have no choice. We will be back, and we have a lot in store for you all this offseason. This offseason is going to be a fun one. We're going to do a lot of community outreach. We're going to hopefully get some interviews in. We're going to be able to we're going to do a lot.
We got a lot. Yes, we have a lot more coming.
Yes, a lot more content coming for you all. We can't wait to get that out to you all of it, and to see what this offseason holds. Anything else you got to say, Zay?
Go Kings, man. Go Kings for life. That's all I got, man.
Go Kings
I'm
for
happy
life,
to be
man.
a Kings fan,
Go
brother.
Kings for life. Again, thank you all for tuning in. Subscribe below if you haven't before. Like this video if you may. We have so much more great Kings content to come for you all. Comment below some kind of content you all want, if anything. And again, just go Kings. Go Kings. We'll see you all on the flip side. Deuces.